Yeah, that was very good. Um, uh, yeah, I like this film.
Yeah, it's
I
alright.
know that we traditionally start with a slight preamble. I think I'd like to open by saying my overall opinion, which is that the film itself is objectively not that great. The story is
Oh,
not that
wow.
great. Characters aren't that engaging. But I think it has the most compelling villain of all time. Or, well, one of. In my top 5. So there.
It's one of the most compelling well, one of. Well, top 5. Well, like David Tennant in Doctor Who, when he just it's like, you fool me every time. Well, almost every time. Well, once. Well, almost once, but it was a good once. Yeah.
But anyway, have we got a bit of something for the bullshit? Because we can't just go straight into
No.
unadulterated film chat. We have to talk about nonsense first.
Exactly.
These are the rules, Danny, that we've made up, and we will be sticking to them aggressively.
The very arbitrary rules that really we could change at any time, but somehow we need to adhere to.
Precisely.
Whee! Okay, so I found an old box of Lego the other day,
Right. Okay.
and I've started to build like a small sort of city out of it.
Nice.
So that's
That does
something.
sound good.
That's something.
What-
It's not as if
what
I've
is
just struggled to think of something and thought, okay, what have I done? And I haven't actually done all that much. So the only thing I could think of was that time where I
Was
sort of
Lego.
arsed about with Lego for an hour.
What is there a theme to the city you're building? Is it just a general city?
It's because I have a lot of Lego Batman figures.
Nice.
So-
So you're trying to do Gotham?
I mean, it doesn't even look like God. I'll tell you what it is, right?
Right.
What it is it's an old sort of you know how you would get some Lego sets with like a pre-built sort of structure with it.
Yeah.
In fact, just make it easier. If you type in
Okay. Type along with us.
if you type in Lego Indiana Jones,
Indiana Jones. Just Lego Indiana Jones.
and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull set.
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull set. Isn't Crystal Skull is like the one that everybody hates? I haven't really watched much Indiana Jones.
Yeah, it's pretty shit.
Okay, I'm looking. It's if you're not googling along at home, it's precisely what you would expect it to be from the name. It's some sort of beige Lego bricks that have been painted with a pattern that looks like sort of bricks that you might find in an ancient temple. There's a Harrison Ford Lego figure holding a see-through piece of plastic that is meant to resemble a skull. There's a Shia LaBeouf Lego piece, and there's a lady who's frowning, who I presume to be the villain, and there is also a man in a tank, who I also presume to be a villain.
Yeah. So I had that set. I got it when I was very young, and I lost all the pieces for it, but I still had the massive sort of beige structure that came with it. That's all intact.
Lovely.
So that was like empty. So I just thought, there's some bricks in here. Let's just build some banks and some
Nice.
skyscrapers and stuff. I mean, it looks the most crowded city you've ever seen. You know, everyone's on top of each other. It looks as if it's like run down. Because there's obviously not a lot of space. So it's literally 2 buildings, a dock that I've just put some brown bricks on the edge.
I had loads of Doctor Who Lego. I don't know if it was Doctor Who.
Oh,
like
is that
official
character
Lego
building
Lego.
thing?
Yes, that was it. Doctor Who character. Doctor Who character building Lego. Maybe my parents saw character building Lego and thought, yeah, Lewis needs some of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Doctor Who character build. Yeah, this is the stuff I had. It's not Lego, but it's very close to Lego.
Yep.
If you stand a mile away and close your eyes. Oh my god, I googled. What did I Google? Doctor Who character building Lego, and there's this internal TARDIS set, like a console room set, which I had when I was younger, and it's like you build up like the walls and the main sort of central console, and there's like you build a little mini outdoor TARDIS, and the walls are like mounted on like hinges, so you can open it up so it's like all sort of flat against a wall, or you can like close it so it's like a sort of sphere like the room, and there's like pipes and stuff coming off the central console.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's very exciting to someone who cares.
It certainly is. It certainly is.
Indeed. There's loads of Doctor Who Lego. This character building stuff. There's one. You remember that episode where the Silence they make that time machine?
Oh yeah,
upstairs from what's his face?
James Corden.
Yeah, upstairs from him. There's one of them. There's,
Nice.
One here which I had, a Cyberman one where it's like in the set there's like a guy and a Cyberman, and I think the idea is that you have to pretend that you're turning the guy into a Cyberman. So that's cool.
Oh.
What else we got? I'm just slowly working. Oh, there's a Peter Capaldi and Clara set with some Daleks. I don't think I had that one.
Is that actual Lego though? Because there's actual Lego sort of.
Oh no, yeah, this is actual Lego. It says Lego on the bricks.
See, there you go.
You know, the patent, is it the patent? I'm not sure what it is, but it's like actually expired now. So in theory, you can buy any sort of Lego style toy, even if it's like for example, Wilco recently started doing like own brand sort of Lego in inverted commas.
Yeah.
And in theory, it should stack with any Lego bricks. I don't know a lot about Lego, but in theory, it should be perfect.
I mean, if anyone knows anything about Lego, like the sets that you would get for it are so fucking expensive.
Oh
like,
god, yeah, really are.
Like, if I would ask for a Lego set, and my parents would just be like, "Yep, Daniel, I am not spending £400 on a Lego Death Star, okay? With 3 minifigures and just so fucking extortionate."
No, I know. We had when a while ago. I think they made a load of Harry Potter Lego sort of sets, and I think at the time we got. I think Chloe and I saw one that was on offer, and we got like a little Quidditch set or something, or we were thinking about it. And then we heard that they released a Lego Hogwarts. And we were like, wow, imagine that. And we looked at the Lego website, and it was like 3,000, 4,000 pieces or something insane. And it was genuinely like the entire castle as you see it in the films.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're like, I wonder how much that is. It was 350 quid. It's like, yeah, I get it, but that's a lot of money.
It's
a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
The only way to sort of justify... I feel like the reason I sort of struggle with saying, oh, I'll pay that much for Lego is because you build it and then it's done. It's not quite the same as if you take it apart and then rebuild it. That's not...
Exactly.
It's like saying, take apart a jigsaw puzzle and put it back together again. It's like not quite as good or engaging. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it just sits there, like...
Yeah.
Forever.
For a while. Because at my parents' house when I was younger... we had this like sort of playroom type room, and it had like because it was previously a bedroom, but we didn't need it as a bedroom, so we used it as like I think we referred to it as the den, as you do.
Yeah.
And it had like a walk-in wardrobe type thing. I remember we had these like shelves in there, and I would like build a Lego set and then put it on the shelf, and it would like be balanced so precariously because the shelves were only so thick, and I'd be like, it's just on the shelf. It just fits. I hope to God it doesn't fall off. And then every time I'd go in there to get like a toy or anything, or even as time went by and I was getting a bit older, I'd go in there to get like, I need an HDMI cable or something to plug my Xbox in.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like incredibly cautious around these Lego figures, just like, do not touch that Lego TARDIS. It has been. You assembled it and it has not moved since. Do not touch it. It's like what's the word? Like you see in spy movies when they're like dodging around the red laser beams, just to try and get like a little HDMI cable or some pens or something.
You know when you're trying to like make something actually stick, and like you're so aggressive with it that it comes off and it like, actually like, cuts your finger or something like because the edges are like that sharp. Like, are you standing a Lego piece or something? Oh my god!
Oh Jesus! I tell you what, we had when I was really really young, like 6 years old, 7 years old. In fact, no, even younger than that, because I remember we got rid of this table and things, and when I was probably about 6, yeah. So when I was really young, I had this like train set table thing. So it was like at shoulder height for a very small child, so at presumably shin to knee height for an adult. And it was like, it had these train sets on it, and as time went on and I sort of liked Thomas the Tank Engine a bit less, I think we got rid of the train stuff, and then we got a lot of Lego in, and I had Lego on this table. And the best thing I remember about that table was that we bought this Lego block remover thing, or it came free with a set, or whatever it was. Like, I honestly can't remember, it so long ago.
All right.
But it is genuinely one of the greatest inventions I've ever witnessed. It was like... the only way I can describe it is like a bottle opener, but the handle is like at 45 degrees to the actual business end of the bottle opener, as it were.
Right.
And it clicked into place on like a Lego brick, and then the idea was you grabbed the piece of Lego to which the brick was attached, and then you, like opening a bottle with a bottle opener, you lifted the handle up and it would just pop off, and it worked like 99% of the time. It was genuinely a really brilliant piece of like Lego technology. I remember even as a kid thinking, this is a game changer.
Yeah, only $59.99.
I see you're using the Apple business model. Though the screen of your phone is an extra £300, Mr. Brindley, and the glue is £200. Oh,
Do you know what would be really cool? Like,
what's that?
Because I don't know if anyone's familiar with this, but like, there's a sort of website called Audrey that we use to sort of get in touch with other content creators, and that's how we sort of do interviews and stuff like that. And like every sort of channel has like a podcast trailer, and like, can you imagine like doing a trailer in Lego, like just like a minute of just like
a stop motion animation type
yeah thing. That'd be
it's
pretty
like
cool.
Me sat at a desk in a replica of my room, and you sat at a desk in a replica of your room.
Yeah.
And it's like these tiny little microphones that might actually be little squirrel minifigures that we've painted black to look vaguely like a microphone.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be pretty
I used
cool.
to do as my Lego obsession sort of grew as I got older. I started doing like stop motion animation type stuff. There was this piece of software. I think it was called Stop Motion Pro. Or something like that. And I had that for Christmas one year, and my parents bought me like a little webcam, and I plugged it into my computer, and I'd make these little films of like Spider-Man saving the city from a bank that's being robbed or whatever, and I'd be using all this Lego.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure you know the term brick films.
Oh yeah,
and the
definitely.
idea was it's like a stop motion animation using your Lego. So like on my Dropbox somewhere buried away, I have got all these old like miniature films of like, oh, it's the Doctor fighting some big spiders or whatever it might be, and it's like 3 minutes long, and the credits make up 2 minutes and 30 seconds of that. So you know.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone's ever done that, like the amount of fucking time that it takes.
Oh yeah.
Like, you need to take at least like 1,000 pictures for like an arm movement. Like, it's really bad. But
it's an utterly strange thing, because you hear a lot about like frames per second type rates, especially. I mean, I'm interested in technology, and I always have been. So I often hear things about like, oh, it's 60 FPS, 44 million hertz gameplay, or whatever it might be.
yeah,
And then you hear, and then on when I'm exporting videos with our video editing software that we use and stuff like that, it's like, oh, this is 30 FPS or 29.4 FPS or whatever it might be. And then it's like, and then you start to consider, well, if I had done this in stop motion, I would have had to take 25 pictures for every second of footage that I produced.
yeah, exactly.
Imagine that. That's insane.
It would only be able to be like a minute long or something like that before like
before you lost your mind.
before your memory of your camera was gone. Like,
yeah.
see, the trick that people don't understand about stop motion, it's like, I used to do it, but I used to like move it, and then I would be in a completely different position where the camera was, so it looked so fucking choppy. Whereas it has to be exactly in the same place throughout the entire. Oh, it's really God, a blast for the past now.
No, I know the Stop Motion Pro software I was talking about had this thing called Onion Skin, where you'd sort of line the camera up and you could sort of dial up or down this onion skin thing, and the idea was that if it was at one end of the scale, it would be showing like a live view of what your webcam was seeing, and at the other end of the scale, it would be the frame you've just taken a picture of.
Yeah.
So the idea was if you have it in the middle, you'll have like a sort of a hazy over image of like, oh, well, his arm was here, so it needs to be slightly to the left, and this box has moved a bit, and so on and so on. But
Yep.
it's like just this constantly being on top of continuity in a ridiculous way.
Oh,
You
man.
see, it's what gets me about some of the Wallace and Gromit movies is how long some of those sequences must have taken.
Can you
considering the stop
imagine?
motion. Yeah, the one that gets me is the chase scene from The Wrong Trousers.
With the other greatest villain ever created.
Right, okay. I know you're saying this to take the piss, but Feathers McGraw is genuinely one of the greatest villains of all time.
Oh,
and I will
Jesus.
not be accepting criticism. But yeah, that one with Feathers McGraw, he's like because Gromit is like riding a model train and putting track down as the train is going, if that makes sense. And I remember watching this documentary. It was like because of how quickly Gromit's arms had to move in the footage, they actually gave Gromit 3 arms for that scene.
Yeah,
So
I think,
like he had like 2 or 3. Yeah, it's crazy.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I just imagine like, who actually sort of came up with that idea. Like, who was like, see all these live action films? Fuck that. Let's get some Play-Doh. Let's.
I suppose it's probably it's kind of a natural evolution in a really funny way. Like, because that's essentially what you were doing with those cameras you used to crank a handle on the side of. That was just opening and closing the shutter a whole bunch of times while the film moved. So you're just making up 1,000 negatives, which you then develop and then splice after one another. So I suppose it's kind of just like the two splintering offs. One of them is like live action footage like we see today, and the other is your Aardman and DreamWorks style stop motion stuff.
Yeah.
I suppose.
I mean, I used to. Did you used to watch old like Lego YouTube videos?
I used to watch a couple every now and then.
Of other people doing stop motion and stuff. I used to watch them all the time. It's like, and they look like so. Like you should see them now, because I looked back on them and some of them are like unbelievable. The amount of sort of stuff that they can do with it now.
Oh yeah.
It's almost like an art form that's just been forgotten. Do you know what I mean? It's really that impressive.
I suppose, well, to be honest with you, it kind of is an art form because there's so much more in a lot of ways because it takes so long for every single frame to be made. Like there's that old saying about how Kubrick's work is every single frame is a painting.
Yeah.
Every single frame is literally a painting.
It really
with
is.
Stop motion. The background, even in I mean, I keep going on about fucking Wallace and Gromit, but like. Even things like the wallpaper, and if you pause a Wallace and Gromit movie and look at the background, there is so much stuff. It's so dense with like world building and character building type stuff.
Yeah.
It's just so impressive. This stop motion art form.
Yeah. There's one stop motion film called the Harlem Shakes that I really like.
Okay.
And it's like when the Harlem Shake was like a thing and people did it everywhere.
Yeah.
Like there's this little sort of Lego room and it's this guy who's doing this dance and it's like obviously it's just him doing it and all his friends are like reading their newspapers, their Lego newspapers, or on their huge massive Lego phones.
Yeah. Or drinking from their huge massive Lego coffee cups.
Yeah, and then like the guy ends up like falling down and has like a sort of plastic sort of seizure. Right. And then it's like they're like, "Oh my god, call an ambulance!" And then it's like, "Wait, what is going on now?" And then they're like at the hospital, and this doctor comes out, and they're like, "Doctor, what's wrong with him?" "Well, kids, it appears your friend has an acute case of being fucking dead."
Oh my god!
And then it just ends with, "These animations are getting kind of dark," and that's it. So what the hell was that? What was the purpose of that? Oh, it's so good. It's really good.
No, it's I think there is a special thing about animation that makes it more surreal in a really funny way. Like you watch a lot of episodes of like even things like American Dad and Family Guy, which are so I don't want to say like nowadays they're made so sort of. It's like just cranking the lever on an animation machine and they just crank out new episodes at a rate of knots.
Yeah.
But even like newer episodes, they can be silly or not quite as cerebral as older episodes, but they're so surreal. Like
yeah.
The thing that immediately springs to mind is this, because Chloe and I are on a bit of an American Dad binge at the minute, and there's this scene where Stan is like sat in bed and he's reading a book and you can see his titles naked from the waist down. And then he hears something in the house and he says, "Oh, I'd better go and see what that is." And he gets up and walks out. His cock is out, and you're just like, "What? Why did they animate that? Why didn't they just like?" It was just ridiculous things that just don't make any kind of sense. I think that's the specialness of animation for me.
Yeah, that's why Rick and Morty works so well, because of like the absurdity. Like they can afford to do a 5-minute scene of like Morty like falling in love, ending up in a plane crash, and then like Jerry ruining it for the end. Like it just it just lends itself. Whereas like if it's a normal sort of television show, they can't really afford to do that in the same way, because it you need actors and you need sort of locations and all that. But if you're just animating it, you can literally do whatever you want.
I know what you mean. It leaves you open to a lot of sort of problems and difficulties, but it does also allow you a lot of potential to be great.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah.
Oh, well, I think we've had a lot of bullshit. Have you got anything else?
No, I think that's me.
Oh, lovely stuff. I mean, I haven't done anything that interesting this week. Nothing quite so interesting as Lego. I painted a windowsill. I moved a mattress from one room to a different room, and it is soon to leave my property. How thrilling is that?
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Aside from that, I've been working. I don't think there's much interesting stuff there.
No, I mean can't.
I made some food. I made.
You've always made some food.
Yeah. What is it I made?
How should
flapjacks?
Oh my god! I haven't had them in years.
Right? I literally woke up on Saturday morning like I would kill a man for some flapjacks, and then I made some. Sorry, Sunday morning.
How is your meat substitutes going?
It's all right. The bacon is really good. I've already used all of it up. It's because it was like I think I got the seasonings a bit wrong, so it was like a bit spicy. So it wasn't bacon-esque in any meaningful way. It just in the sort of shape and colour, it was bacon-esque, but in no other way. That was good. I haven't actually tried the chicken yet. Well, I have. I tried a little bit just after I made it. It needs work, but it's good. It needs to be a bit chewier, which is fine. I just need to wash it a bit more.
Well, that's good.
Exciting times. I also made some cheddar biscuits.
Oh my!
By
cheddar
which I mean
biscuits.
American biscuits, like scones, but you know Americans say they're having like biscuits and gravy.
Oh
that
yeah.
kind of biscuit. Yeah, they were good. I had some with soup today.
Oh, well, that's
Yum.
nice. What was the soup?
It was broccoli and Stilton.
Oh yeah, you told me that, but I just thought. Oh yeah, I mean I didn't know that. This is just, you know.
Yeah. Literally, unless you're very interested in the minutiae of food, I have not done very many interesting things.
Do you know what we're gonna have to do? We're gonna have to
We're
gonna have to live more interesting lives if we want this segment to continue.
This week I went to Tibet.
Yeah, I mean, I'll end the bullshit with this. Lego conjures many things in the mind. Childhood memories, building a world of your own, exploring creativity. But the one that's most visceral is that scene from The Inbetweeners when they're sitting at dinner and they're trying to have more sort of polite conversation, and it goes really silent. And then Neil says, unapologetically, "How much Lego can you stuff up your bum?" So there you go.
Yeah. Well, there's that. One quick thing before we finally move on. I finally finished The Rig by Roger Levi. I made a nugget of bullshit video about it. Go and watch that if you haven't watched it already. But Danny, you have to read The Rig. It's really good.
I will read it.
You would really like it. It's
Right,
really, really good.
Don't oppress me, Lewis, okay? Fucking
Read the book, Danny. Read the book.
Read the fucking book. Well, there you go. Are you all bullshitted out? Shall we talk about?
I am.
Shall we talk about the title of the podcast now?
Yeah, we're 25 minutes in. I think we should start talking about what we're meant to be talking about. Yeah.
This week we are talking about the film Mean Girls, and it was written by Tina Fey. It was directed by Mark Waters, and it is starring Lindsay Lohan, Rachel McAdams, Tim Meadows, Anna Gasteyer, Amy Poehler, and Tina Fey.
Indeed it is.
I think
Great
that might
opening
be.
statement.
I think that might be the most successful credit run I've ever done on this
It might
show.
be, yeah.
Not what?
You didn't
Did I
trip over
stutter?
anybody?
Did I
No.
stutter? No.
Very impressive, Danny.
Yeah.
You've mastered the art of speech.
Yeah. Finally, after 21 years. Well, it's not 21 years yet. I suppose another month.
Nearly 21 years, yeah.
Nearly 21 years. I do have an opening statement.
Hit it.
A careful and rather ingenious meditation on social Darwinism, the fabric of dictatorship, and how oppressive social standards can make Regina Georges of us all.
Right you are, yeah. It's a very meh movie in terms of the journey of the main character, but one in which I think it has some extremely funny moments and one of the greatest villains of all time. That's the end of my opening statement. But I do really like what you said about the sort of social hierarchy. That's the thing about this movie, is that it puts into terms greater than anything else I've ever read the utter social hell that is high school.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Because I hadn't seen it for like a long time. I think the last time I actually watched it when we were doing the 4 o'clock club together. I think I watched it then. But I didn't really have a sort of appreciation for it then. I thought it was just like a sort of a girls' film. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then I've rewatched it and I'm like, holy shit, this is some of the best social commentary I think I've ever seen in a film ever. It's so intelligent. It speaks on so many sort of different things, like you're saying about social hierarchy. And I realised as I was writing the notes for it, I've got like paragraphs here of shit that I just didn't think would come out like at all. I've discovered things that are so fucking deep and sort of integral to human behaviour that's really...
Well, hit me with some of them then. Hit me with some hard knowledge.
Okay.
We're in CRQs now.
Yeah.
I know that it's a very freeform podcast, but I feel a weird urge to just state for the record what section we're on at any given time.
Yeah. I'll start with the social sort of hierarchy stuff.
Yeah.
High school in that form really is the breeding ground for like high functioning sociopaths. Like,
yeah.
so the sort of craftiness of Regina, specifically, but not to mention Janice. Like, you begin to realise that Janice would be Regina if she fit into the sort of social standards that Regina does. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's really sort of manipulative. You know, she uses other people to get her own ends. It's simply that she's lit in a sort of lower sort of social class than other...
But it's sort of like we're meant to be rooting for her because it would be power to the people, like a revolution of the proletariat seizing the social capital and all that stuff.
Exactly. But like, we know that if Janice was lit on top, it would be like Stalin in the Soviet Union. Do you know what I mean?
Oh my god.
That's what it would be like. That's the best sort of... I mean, she's got a sort of incredibly militaristic mind of how to overthrow the current regime. She talks about how do you stop a dictator? You cut off her resources, and she goes into meticulous detail about the things that keep Regina in power, and uses Katie to dismantle them one by one. That is some really, methodical shit.
Chilling. Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels almost like something from the Fall of Rome. It's like she's like one of the machinations of an ancient political senator.
Exactly.
As they surveil their new kingdom.
And another thing that I noticed is that the sad thing is that Regina is like a victim as much as like anyone else is, because of the standards that are sort of imposed on her, and she's like an intelligent person, and she could be like really successful if she just wasn't like so toxic and so obsessed with the standards that she sort of finds herself in, which is kind of fucked.
Yeah, plus, I mean, there are lots of things like... The movie makes a good point of saying that cruelty begets cruelty.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Regina George is cruel to people, sure. But if you gave no weight to her words and no weight to her actions, you'd just be like, well, I mean, I don't really give a shit what Regina George thinks. I'm here to get an education. That's it. But then, because they do give weight to her words, it sort of becomes... The cruelty that they inflict upon Regina is as bad as any cruelty that Regina has inflicted. Like, how essentially they're manipulating her eating disorder is what they're doing. Giving her those power bars to make her get fatter. It's like, well, that's massively fucked up. Can you imagine doing that to someone?
That is so fucking cruel. It's
because they were slightly cruel to you at school. How insane is that?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to let downplay, like, Regina George is like a piece of shit throughout the entire film. But like, if you remove Regina George, someone is just going to take her place because she isn't the root of the problem.
No.
The root of the problem is the sort of like incredibly highly sort of idealized sort of like beauty standards that everyone sort of for some reason just imposes on themselves. And it got me thinking more about like Janice, because we're told that her and Regina used to be friends. And like, when I think they fell out and Regina insinuated that Janice was a lesbian, as if that's a fucking bad thing. But like, in high school, gay is like routinely used as like an insult.
Especially in 1990s high school.
Exactly. And then I thought, and then Regina said, she came back and to school and her hair was all cut off and she was dressing really weird. And it's like, Janice is still like, upholding the standards as much as she hates Regina, because Regina sort of, says she's a lesbian, and then Janice returns in very stereotypically lesbian dress and behaves in almost the way that Regina sort of expects her to. So it's almost like a sort of self-hating cycle of homophobia. It's really fucked when you think about it like that.
It's fucking horrific. It's the thing that gets me. I don't know if you'll have seen the movie Snowpiercer.
No, I haven't. I know that there's a series on Netflix.
There is. The movie, it was... Oh, I've forgotten his name. The guy that directed Parasite. It was his previous film before Parasite.
Oh!
And it's really good. But the sort of fucked up nature of it is that Chris Evans spends his time progressing through this train, and then he gets to the end, and you think, okay, he went through all that sacrifice and struggle.
Spoilers.
But he's
spoilers.
still part of... Well... Yeah, but the film came out in 2013. I'm not that concerned.
Well, I haven't seen it.
Oh,
no, just say it.
Do you
fine.
mind if okay, right?
Yeah, just say it.
Well, Chris Evans spends the entire film sort of slowly making his way through this train to get to the front of the train where he thinks things will be better for him, and then then the end of the film is he gets to the front of the train. Now what? And that's what it makes me sort of realise. It's like Mean Girls, is that Janice being on the bottom of the social hierarchy and Regina George being at the top. It's like, well, now what? At the end of the film, Katie's scheme has been enacted. Everybody's friends. Now what? They sort of imply with those three girls walking in lockstep right at the very end that, oh, well, there's a power vacuum now that Regina George has been dethroned. So that now there's these random other people who will just jump into the spot that she's vacated.
Yeah.
Okay, great. But so you haven't actually solved any of the systematic problems. You just kicked the can down the road.
Exactly.
You're still on the train. You're just further up the train than you were before. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Like with the way Janice dresses might not even be who she really is.
Yeah.
She might just sort of, be in such self-loathing that she just dresses like that in a sort of rebellious way, but also because Regina's said that. Yeah, it's really fucking strange. But I will say that when the characters are less concerned about being sort of popular, they do seem to be sort of happier. Like Regina she sort of levels her anger into football, or is it football?
I honestly don't remember. It's some sort of sport.
Yeah, it's some sort of sport.
Aggression.
Yeah, which and everyone seems to be a bit sort of more content with themselves. But like you say, it's still there. Like the power vacuums.
Yeah.
Remains. What else?
Amy Poehler stole the show.
Oh yeah, she was fantastic. She was so funny.
She is brilliant in everything she does, but really good in this.
Yeah.
The one that really got me was when they were at prom and Regina was having a photo taken with somebody, and Amy Poehler's there in the background, just trying to edge in on the photo, and like trying to be one of the cool kids in this bizarre social hell.
Yeah. It's really like I said, hey, you want a bit of alcohol? Just so desperate to be that cool sort of mum. Oh, that's really funny. You know.
The thing is, Regina George's mum is kind of like, I kind of get it. If your
mum is like that,
drinking in your house, say again.
But if your mum is like that, and she's just obsessed with like being young and cool and hip, like.
Oh yeah, that's massively fucked up. But she does make some good points during the course of the film, I think.
Yeah,
wouldn't you rather your kids were experimenting with alcohol under your own roof, where if you need to, you can take them to A&E, or you can sort of cut them off if you have to, rather than them going and drinking 4-litre bottles of cider under a bridge? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. But I don't think that's the motivations of like why she wants.
No,
them
it's
to...
not. No,
she
just wants to be cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Like if your parents like that for like, we have to assume for like most of like Regina's life, like that's, I'd wager that that's probably a good sort of reason as to why she is like the way she is. You know, if her mum's just obsessed with sort of fitting in, almost in the same way that the other sort of members of the Plastics are, it's like that sort of will nurture someone's tendencies to be a sort of dictator. You know.
Yeah. That's a really good point. If all you're shown is you're supposed to fit in, try to fit in with being this stereotype that I've made up, maybe that's what Regina George is sort of channeling in a very strange way. Is I have to fit in with the Plastics. I have to be this, and I have to not eat anything. And do you know what I mean?
Exactly. What I did find interesting is that the men in the film are like almost entirely exempt of like the infighting, which really speaks to the sort of like, because like fundamentally these sort of beauty standards are like imposed on like by men, like essentially.
Yeah.
So it's like it would make sense that rather than sort of working to sort of undo the sort of standards that you're sort of forced to endure, you just fight amongst people that you, oh, that person's ugly, or that person. So it's like it really sort of makes sense in that way. Whereas, like, you know, Aaron, who's just portrayed as like a normal guy, because he has the sort of privilege of being considered normal. You know, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, I do know what you mean. It's about how, in a way, there's like a lower activation energy for infighting than there is for actual systemic change. In the sense of it's easier for Regina George to say, everybody but me is ugly, I'm just so beautiful, than it is for her to say, why do I care? Why does this matter at all? Who is imposing these standards? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It's like when people aren't affected by like a system that oppresses them, then they have this sort of, you know, a privilege of going, oh, why do you care so much? Why do you like if
yeah, exactly.
You know, which I think's pretty. I don't think a lot of people sort of get that with these films. You know. Do you have
another bit of hot and spicy wisdom and facts?
I do.
Oh, excellent.
I think. It's becoming like more and more clear to me. Like I am struggling to sort of hold up the idea that, oh, you need to stop making things political, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
Because I'm starting to think that most things in life are political, like by necessity. There are obvious exceptions, like if you're sitting at dinner with your pals or like your partner, you don't want to fucking, you know...
You're just talking about like TV. It's like, well, have you heard about the latest Chancellor's new budget or whatever? Oh, no, shut up.
Yeah, but like the more we watch stuff, like the more we do this podcast, I'm struggling to sort of watch something and not see like the overt sort of political sort of strain in it, if you know what I mean. Like,
I do, yeah.
at first glance, I would imagine that a lot of people would just say, "Oh, it's just about high school and how teenagers are dicks." Like,
Yeah.
but it's really more. It's a lot more like fucking intricate than that. This is like a sort of sandbox version of how life is
Yeah.
for a lot
Yeah.
of people. You know.
It's this microcosm of like you go from trying to be the most popular cheerleader in high school to being the most popular soccer mom in your neighborhood, sort of thing. It's the terrifying microcosm that Regina sees around her of like and what her life could potentially become.
Exactly.
Because now that I think about it even more, that's probably exactly what happened to Amy Poehler. Is the character, I can't remember her name, not actual real life Amy Poehler, because she's doing fucking amazing stuff. But
yeah.
the character in this movie, Regina George's mum, she probably was Regina George in a previous life, as it were.
Yeah.
And then she went from trying to be the most popular mean girl to trying to be the most popular mum, which is a strange sort of segue. But in a way, it's this systemic nightmare that is almost impossible to change.
It's really fucked.
Yeah, it really is.
And like, I don't want to. I'm worried that it's just gonna ruin me watching anything from like now on. I'm watching like Peppa Pig or something like that. It's like, oh, there you go.
This is clearly a commentary.
Yeah, look at these capitalist pigs walking about. Literally pigs.
Yeah, no, you're completely right. I think as long as you can argue something one way or the other, it becomes an inherently political issue. I think that's why things like healthcare have become a political issue, because on the surface of it, it's like, well, shouldn't people just get like healthcare? Well, shouldn't they have to earn it? Do you know what I mean? It's these insane concepts which are to a lot of people so absurd, which are just kept in place by this bizarre, unending machine of bureaucracy.
Yeah,
it's vaguely insane. And I know we might be overanalyzing like a sort of a vaguely trashy comedy, but I think this film does speak about the difficulties of changing systemic problems.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I hope that like I don't like do this every single time. You know,
Right.
I hope we don't like, do the next sort of film or something like that, and I'm like,
This is about politics.
this is an allegory for fucking the prison industrial complex, obviously. You know, like,
No, I know what you mean. It's I think for some films it's more obvious than others, and I think for some films it's more deliberate than others.
yeah,
For example, I think Jordan Peele's work it hits a sweet spot between not at all obvious, but also very accurate in a weird way. The one that got me was it Us? Was that what it was called?
That's right.
Where they all
Yeah,
jumped up at the sewers. And
it was rather overt, wasn't it?
it was, well, yeah, but it's like I don't know how to quite describe it, but as I was watching it and I was thinking, oh, it's kind of just a fucked up sci-fi film, and then I was sort of walking out the cinema and I was thinking, hang on, was that entire thing about Donald Trump? And it sort of all came back around and hit me, and I was like, yeah, I mean, maybe they're saying there should be more kindness between people, and maybe we shouldn't destroy our inner saboteurs, and we should be true to ourselves, and maybe a massive wall across the country is not a good idea. That film was about Donald Trump, and I didn't even realise it.
Yeah, I mean, like in comparison with like Get Out, it's like Get Out was far more sort of like it was funnier, it had a lot more sort of comedy in it, and it was more about the sort of intricacies of like subtle racism, like how people who like seem to be sort of woke and like having pictures of like, you know, the athlete that was in the Olympic Games when Hitler was there, and then going to a 5-minute rant about how like Hitler with his racism and all that, but you would never talk about it like if there wasn't like a black person for it. It's like that sort of really cynical and hollow virtue signaling while living in a big house and actually having servants who are black. I mean, that sort of fucking shit. But like Us was, I think, far more sort of. It literally ended in like a sort of nationwide sort of revolt almost,
Yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, they're both really good films, and I mean, it was fucking chilling. Lupita, oh God, what's her name? Lupita something. I've forgotten now. Um, Lupita Nyong'o, that's it. Her performance in that was utterly stunning. Just from the terrifying voice to all the terrifying stalking around the house, and it's utterly terrifying. And what got me was we're talking about a different film now in a podcast for Mean Girls, but quickly, I want to talk about the dad in that film in Us, who was played. Oh, I've forgotten his name as well. Bear with me, because he was in Black Panther, wasn't he? Winston Duke, that's his name. He played the tribe in Black Panther.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, yeah. But he was really good in that because he was like, I don't know what the word is. He was this sort of very protective father, and then you got to see the utter duality of what if he just let go? What if he let go of everything that mattered to him and became much more aggressive and much more animalistic? And that's this shadow side of him, and I don't know quite what it was, but that really sort of, it didn't resonate with me. That's the wrong word, but it really sort of, it stuck with me. Sort of seeing him outside his house as the dad of this family, and I think he was like had a baseball bat or something, or like a kitchen knife or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. He was talking to the clones or whatever they were, sort of saying, "Get out of here! Get out of here! Get away from our house!" and all this sort of stuff. And then seeing the other dad sort of drop into a dead sprint and run at him, and it was just it's
so
chilling.
Fucking chilling, yeah.
Yeah, and it's about sort of sacrificing yourself for the inherent value of sort of being self-possessed in a weird way.
Yeah.
Of watching, of like, I think the question it's asking in a weird way is, would it be worth the dad of this family losing his soul, essentially, for the good of a collective thing? And then, I mean, that's a big question, but like, I don't know what it is about Us, but it really resonated with me, okay? And I'm going to dig it up in a podcast about Mean Girls, so fuck off.
Wow, like, no criticism at all, and Lewis is like, fuck off, all you people.
Oh, God.
Yeah, but like, I just wish that people that wouldn't. I'm starting to get the feeling. See, people that if you're watching a film and people say, "Don't make it political," I feel as if that's almost like a tactic to like not talk about stuff that happens around us.
Oh God, yeah, definitely.
But whether they're like doing it or not, like inherently, just to sort of uphold like what's going on, like. This has like nothing to do with like with the film, but let's see if you're sitting at dinner with like family and stuff like that, and like for some reason, like you're allowed to have like a sort of vaguely racist sort of relative say shit, and then you call them out in it, and for some reason it's you that's broken the sort of. Weird sort of faux traditional sort of, oh my God, Daniel, don't ruin everyone's night. Daniel, it's like what you know, that shit. It's like somehow you're just supposed to, well, that's just the way he is. He comes from a different time. It's like, yeah, the 80s. I mean, holy shit, like, it's not fucking it's not 100 years ago. Jesus Christ.
Oh, that's really good. Oh, God.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he comes from a different time, because you're meant to say, well, yeah, he did come from the 1910s. It's never really wrong, sort of realised, but yeah, he comes from the 80s.
Yeah, it's like, really they speak as if it's like fucking centuries ago. It's like, holy shit. And it's somehow on you to shut up, you know, eat your dinner, and let's not discuss the big fucking elephant in the room. Do you know what I mean? It's like... And that's why... Yeah. It really annoys me when people say shit like, don't make everything political. It's like, well, sometimes things are overtly political, you know? And I'm not saying that you can't enjoy this film as just like a comedy and you can just laugh at it and all that. That, yeah, obviously you can do that, and that's I imagine
you can do that, but Danny will judge you.
Yeah, I imagine that's what it was made for, rather than like sort of speaking about the sort of social fabric of society. But I'm not gonna. You know, Tina Fey's a fucking pretty smart person. I'm not gonna... I can't buy that she was just making a trashy comedy about teenagers, do you know what I mean? You know?
What you were saying about don't make everything about politics, and about people that say that just so they don't have to talk about politics. That reminded me of something. We speak a lot about like philosophy and sort of social commentary type YouTubers on this podcast.
Yeah.
And recently, ContraPoints, Natalie Wynn, I
That's
think is
right,
her
yeah.
name, released a video about J.K. Rowling and the inherent shitness that entails. And she raised a point about how the phrase trans women are women is perhaps not as effective as it could be at conveying what it's trying to convey.
Yeah.
And made the point, saying trans women are women invites the question, well, what does it mean to be a woman? Rather than, well, what are the struggles of trans women? And I think that's sort of, it's a similar, asking, well, what does it mean to be a woman is a similar thing to saying, well, it doesn't have to be political, because what you're saying in saying, well, what does it mean to be a woman? You're saying, well, I don't want to talk about the struggles that trans women are having. I want to talk about women's struggles in a general sense, which obviously is a conversation that needs to be had. But
yeah.
I do you see the point I'm trying to make? I think
definitely.
a lot of the time people do try to avoid talking about important issues because they might be on more comfortable footing talking about Mean Girls as a comedy that Tina Fey wrote. Do you know what I mean?
Yep, definitely.
God, that went nowhere quickly, didn't it? That was a confusing analogy.
No, it makes sense because, like, I mean, I think people, whether you're like sort of engaged, like even if you're engaged like politically with the world around you, I do think there's like a sort of tentativity about people that it's there are just sort of things that are like taboo that are really just not useful in any way to try and like change things for the better of everyone, you know? Like, there are things that you're just not supposed to talk about, you know? But if like that thing is doing like demonstrable harm to lots of people, it's like, well, you should just ignore the sort of taboo that's around it and try and talk about it as much as possible.
Yeah.
And people won't like that, but it's like, well, what's more important? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, protecting someone's feelings or actually righting a wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a tricky one because like at the same time people use that sort of, oh, I speak about stuff all the time, you know, I'm not politically correct. I'm not gonna let stuff get in the way. So people do it for like bad reasons because they just want an excuse to be racist or homophobic or transphobic or something
Piers
like
Morgan, you mean?
Yeah, it fucking exactly. You know.
Yeah. That's yeah. It really infuriates me. This whole Piers Morgan doesn't suffer fools gladly. No, because he's waiting to say something racist about them.
Yeah, exactly. Piers Morgan is so he doesn't let political correctness, you know, tie him down. You know, he said he was a two-spirit penguin, just being like overtly transphobic. But then you mention Winston Churchill being a racist, and it's like, what? He single-handedly saved this country. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Everyone is political correctness that they, whether they admit it or not, you know.
Yeah, it's I think somehow this has segued into a chat about modern politics. But, you know, I think something that gets me about this a lot is that people might say, "Oh no, I'm not very political," or "I don't like to talk about politics," and then you'll raise a political issue like the NHS or something like that, and then they will have an opinion on that. So it's, well, you do have political opinions then.
Yeah.
You're speaking about your political opinions. But you're right, it is like there's a taboo about speaking about politics, which is odd, because everything is politics in a weird way.
Yeah. I'm sorry if people are listening to this and they're going, oh, God's sake. But, like, politics informs, like, a lot of like who I want to spend time with, and a lot of like my friends and like, you know, people that I care about. You know, so it is pretty fucking important. Like,
I mean, I'm sure. Sorry, go on.
You know, we're not gonna do it like all the time, but I can tell you something. See the Lego city that I've built. There's gonna be a ruling class that gets overthrown, Lewis. Batman's gonna get thrown off.
Eat the rich, by which I mean Bruce Wayne and all the embezzlement of Wayne Enterprises that he's done. Mr. Wayne, why have you spent £20 million investigating lightweight, super hard plastics?
Yeah.
No reason.
And also, how do you expect us to talk about Mean Girls just as a trashy comedy for like an hour? Like, are we supposed to just go, it's funny and that's it? Like, fair enough. It's like, it's better to get in amongst it and sort of, well, what does this mean? What are they trying to say, It's just more interesting in my opinion, but if it isn't to you, then that's okay as well, I guess. But there you go. I think I might be out of notes.
I think I am also out of notes, and I also think I need to go and take a nap.
A political nap.
Yes, a political nap. A post-politics nap.
Oh, God.
That's what Boris Johnson does after PMQs. He's all of a sudden, it's like, oh, people are questioning my decisions that I've definitely made not to further my own interests, and now I need a post-politics nap. I'm so stressed.
I tell you something, see if you watch PMQs, but just imagine that Boris Johnson is looking for a fridge throughout the entire thing. It makes it so much more entertaining. If you imagine that he is just searching for a fridge to hide in, it's like when he's speaking, just look at his eyes and see where he's looking. It just makes it so much fun.
Oh God, I'd forgotten the thing about Boris Johnson hiding in a fridge.
Yeah,
It's that was hilarious.
So
I remember
It's the fact when Nigel Farage came to Scotland, he hid in a pub from protesters. It's like, you hid from Scottish people in a pub, did you? They were all sitting waiting. All right, Nigel.
I remember when Nigel Farage came to Stoke on the UKIP campaign trail. I think he got like loads of shit thrown at him. I think people egged him. So that's nice. That's a reassuring thing to know about Stoke.
Yeah, exactly. Oat cake. No, they wouldn't throw oat cakes. They wouldn't waste that in the likes of.
Wouldn't waste oat cakes on Nigel Farage.
No, definitely not. That would
just
be...
eggs.
Yeah, just eggs. Just the ingredients of oat cakes.
I'm pretty sure.
Are eggs in oat cakes?
No, I don't think so. I think they're like a crepe, but you put oatcakes in crepes.
Oh.
Sorry, you put eggs in...
It must be eggs.
If you're not from Stoke, you won't know what a Staffordshire oatcake is. Imagine a crepe, but made with oat flour, and it's typically made savoury with like cheese and bacon. Right. Why can't I... Here we go. No eggs. Oatmeal, flour, milk, water, yeast, sugar, and salt.
Oh, fair enough. Well, there you go. Well, they didn't waste oatcakes then, which is good.
No, certainly not.
Exactly.
Much better things to do with my time and my oatcakes than throw them at Nigel Farage.
Exactly. Well, do you have a closing statement?
I do. A bizarrely deep film about the social hell that is high school. I'm aware of the fact they made a Mean Girls 2. I don't think it was very good. I haven't seen it. Yeah, in my research for this, I think it was made in 2011. Let me Google it. Mean Girls 2.
Even more Mean Girls. They should have called it that.
2011. Really mean this time, girls. With I don't recognise any of these people on the poster.
Oh.
So I presume it wasn't the original cast returning then.
Right.
Mean Girls 2, a cliquish group of high school girls, the Plastics, would do anything to humiliate a newcomer, Joe. They're quite successful in doing so, but Joe and her friend Abby plan to retaliate.
That sounds exactly the same film.
But with different people.
Yeah, with different names that you won't remember.
Oh, Christ. 30% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's not great, is it?
Oh, dear.
4.1 out of 10 on IMDb. It's not doing well.
No. When the cast don't return for the second one, that's a big red flag right there.
Yeah, it is a bit.
But there you go.
But yeah, have you got a closing statement?
I do. I don't want to sit with you, pal. Have you ever thought of that? There you go.
Mm-mm. Go and sit in like a little tiny room off to the side. Be like, yeah, I'll just have a sandwich somewhere.
Exactly.
Who cares?
As long as I eat my sandwich, that's it. I don't know what I'm talking about now, but there you go.
Right, we've got some horrifically capitalist shilling to do.
Of course we do. Of course we let's just undo everything we've said.
We didn't actually talk that much about capitalism in this one.
We didn't, that's
we sort of
true.
steered clear of economic politics and a bit more social politics.
Yeah. Which is a nice change, I guess.
A wonderful change for people who care. All two of our listeners will be glad for that change.
We all have link trees. Lewis's link tree is link tr.ee/Lewis_Brindley.
It's like the third or fourth time
Jesus
we've done
Christ!
this.
I know, I'm sorry. Jesus Christ. Okay.
Oh,
My link tree is link tr.ee/Ohiram, and
I
the...
can hear the concentration.
I know!
You're just gazing at the page.
I'm not gazing, I'm staring aggressively. And the podcast is link tr.ee/shooting.
It's the pause.
I can't help it.
Link
I can't help it.
tr.e.
I can't help it. I get nervous.
Happy to talk about social politics at great length.
Yeah.
But repeating a link aloud. Whoa.
Yeah. Oh.
No way.
Yeah,
no
that's my political correctness. We have a PayPal, a donate button, so anything you can spare, anything at all would be greatly appreciated. We also have Patreon, and we want to thank our wonderful, wonderful patrons, Chloe.
Thank you.
Darius.
Thank you.
Sophie.
Thank you.
Peter.
Thank you.
Aditya.
Thank you.
Richard.
Thank you.
Natalie.
Thank you.
And Dougie.
Thank you, one and all. See, Dougie, you didn't get a b on that one because you had 2 last week. You you cartoon mumbling to indicate swearing and under his breath.
Yeah, we're going to lose a patron after that.
Well, number one, I sincerely hope we don't. And number two, if you would like to join their number, you can check us out on Patreon. We're patreon.com/shoutingintothevoid. We have a Patreon only... Well, we have a Discord, which is now public, actually, very excitingly.
Yep.
You'll be able to find the link on our link trees. If you do not want to do that, we also have a Patreon, which will get you access to the patron-only portions of our Discord server, where you can suggest films and TV shows that you'd like us to do, and you can have a bit of a chat with us. It doesn't have to be about obscure political issues. It can just be about, like, bread, if you really want it to be. Yeah. I will always be happy to talk about bread.
I mean, ironically, our Discord literally has a rule that says no politics, which is kind of fucked.
That's very true, actually, yeah.
Which is so weird, because all our podcasts are so fucking political.
Well, yeah, I suppose... What is the rule? It's keep politics light. Which I suppose is a bit...
Yeah, this is not the place. Yeah. This is not the place for political debates, I think it says.
Hang on, let me find the rules.
I think it says that.
Keep politics light. This isn't the place for political debates. Yeah. Basically, because people want. That's the thing, is people want to talk about politics, but it's not always the right time to have a massive 3-hour debate about obscure political issues. I
mean, maybe if enough people were like, we want to talk about politics, then we would maybe reconsider that. But
have like a politics channel in the Discord.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, we can look into that maybe at some point if anyone requests it, but no one has, so we're not doing it. Okay.
But yeah, if you would like to join our patrons, you go to patreon.com/shoutingintothevoid. You get all sorts of perks. You can check out what bits and bobs you can get there, including getting the episodes early. How exciting is that, Dan?
It's very exciting. A full 24 hours before anyone else.
Yes, 24 whole hours.
Yep, there you go.
What are you going to do with your extra 24 hours that you're not sat waiting on the edge of your seat for our podcast?
Exactly.
You could bake a cake. You could bake several cakes.
Yeah, save yourself a whole lot of time, a whole lot of waiting, a whole lot of pain at not knowing what happens next.
Precisely. Mm-hmm.
So there you go. We also have merch on Teespring and Redbubble.
We do.
Anything there that tickles your fancy. We've got jumpers, tote bags, mugs, t-shirts, all sorts of shite. Go have a look.
Go and look at our shit.
We also have a sponsor. We're partnered with a fantastic company. I believe it's Lewis's turn to edit this week.
It is my turn to edit this week, so you will hear our advert for the wonderful Right Side Yarns now. Danny, I've got some amazing news.
Oh, really? What?
I'm going to make you a hat.
Thanks. But why?
Well, because Right Side Yarns, who sell beautiful and unique wool, have recently released a new range.
Oh, I've heard of them. Aren't they that fantastic Scottish business that sells high-quality hand-dyed products perfect for crafting with?
They certainly are, and they're sponsoring the show.
Really? Have they heard the show?
Yes, and apparently they like it. Kezia, the owner of the business, has given us a generous 15% off code for any of our listeners to use.
Is that why you've got Void 15 written in your hand?
It is! If you or any of our listeners would like to use the code, simply enter Void15 at checkout with a capital V.
Great! Where do I check out?
You can go to their website at rightsideyarns.co.uk or check them out on Instagram at Kezia_rightsideyarns.
Fantastic! This hat you're making me better be good.
Oh, that was good, wasn't it?
Beautiful.
That was really good.
Beautiful.
To be honest with you, Danny, I shed a tear during the course of that.
Every
single time I hear that advert, I shed tears.
I shed multiple. That's because I'm eating onions as we're doing this.
Eating raw onions.
Raw onion. That was a thing, wasn't it? That we say, if Danny eats a raw onion, we'll get him a computer.
Oh, God, yeah.
It's alright, I've got one now.
Fantastic, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll do a sponsored charity stream where
Danny
if
just
we get
eats
to
onions for 12 hours.
£500, Danny will eat an entire raw onion.
There you go. Lovely.
If that's something you'd be interested in seeing, please let us know. I would be interested in making that, because it would not be me being... How would you eat the onion? Would you chop it up first into like would you very finely mince the onion and eat it with a spoon?
I think
Or would you eat it like an apple?
I think that would be pretty shite. If I'm going to eat an onion, I'm going to fucking eat it like an apple. You know, I'm going to chew it, you know, all the way. I would vomit my lungs up afterwards, but like... Vomit my lungs up? What? Vomit comes from the lungs.
If you would like to see Danny eat a raw onion, give us... How much to eat a raw onion, Dan?
Oh, I don't know.
20 quid?
20 quid?
50 quid?
50 quid, okay, yeah.
Yeah, give us 50 quid and Danny will eat a raw onion.
I will. There you go. We should put that in a Patreon pledge. Get to 30 patrons and Danny will eat a raw onion.
Oh, that would be fantastic. I'm going to do that live on air.
Oh, you're actually doing it? Oh, fuck.
Yes, I am.
I don't know how I feel about that. No, do it. I'll do it. I will.
Okay, I'm logging in as we speak. Oh, it's exciting, this. Okay, I've forgotten how to do this. Special offers? Is that it? I can't remember. Goals. There we go.
There we go.
Okay. Okay, goal number of patrons. How many patrons to make you eat a raw onion, Dan?
Let's go with 50.
50 patrons.
50
okay.
patrons. Let's do it.
Okay. What? If we hit 50 patrons,
and there'll be no editing either. It will be.
Danny,
we will film it until I'm done.
Danny will eat an entire raw onion. We will film this process and upload it to YouTube without editing it.
Yep. Who needs self-respect?
Without editing it. There we go.
There you go.
How do I... There should be a save button. Save changes. There you go. If you go to our Patreon, patreon.com/shoutingintothevoid, you will be able to watch Danny eat an entire raw onion.
Boom.
Isn't that exciting?
There you go.
Well, maybe, theoretically, one day.
One day. And last but certainly not least, we are partnered with another amazing company called Number 12 Crochet Avenue, and Lewis has got some marvellous things to say about them, all of which are true.
Indeed I do. Number 12 Crochet Avenue is an amazing company run by my amazing wife, in which she crochets, and she's really, really good at it. You can go and check out her Instagram at Number 12 Crochet Avenue to see everything there is to see about yarn and crochet and everything else you could possibly conceive of. If you liked our other sponsor, Right Side Yarns, you can check out Number 12 Crochet Avenue for some fantastic knits using that yarn. Go and take a look now.
Yes. Well, there you go. That was Mean Girls.
It was. Danny, would you like to spin the wheel to decide what we're doing next week?
I do. I will.
Hello?
Hello?
Is it stopped?
It's
I
stopped.
can't tell.
Yep, it's stopped.
Okay, well, according to... oh God, I closed the thing. We're doing Incredibles 1 and 2.
Yeah! Lovely.
Yeah. I genuinely love those movies. I think it's going to be dead good. I was talking about Incredibles and something else too, maybe.
Yep. Let's try and
find out who suggested this, so that I can actually give them a shout out. There we go.
Any luck?
Yep, bear with me. Incred. This was recommended by Aditya, one of our patrons. If you would like to suggest things just as Aditya did, then you can go to our Patreon and you can consider signing up there.
Exactly. Perfect.
Mm.
Well, there you go, and we'll try and keep politics light on it next week.
Indeed, we will.
But there you go. So yeah, that's us.
It is indeed us. Despite how chaotic this podcast has been, Danny, I'll eat a raw onion when we hit 50 patrons.
Yep.
What an exciting time for us all.
Definitely. Well, we will see you, hear you, smell you, disrupt the social fabric of society next time.
Indeed, we will. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.
Bye.